mild with a high of 68 degrees, 20% chance of rain late in the day. With your Storm Track 3 forecast, I'm meteorologist Ron Williams.
Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Hey Wichita, it's Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking in sports talk. It's Sports Daily, coming up next exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Sam Darnold era in Seattle is officially underway. The Seahawks introduced their new quarterback Thursday after signing him to a 3-year, $100 million deal with $55 million guaranteed. Darnold, who has started for 3 different teams, says he's thrilled to finally have the 12s on his side and believes his best football is ahead of him. Meanwhile, the Steelers are bringing back Mason Rudolph on a 2-year, $8 million deal with $4.5 million guaranteed, according to NFL Network insiders Ian Rappaport and Mike Garafolo. Rudolph spent his first 5 seasons in Pittsburgh. And Devontae Adams is officially a Los Angeles Ram. The veteran wide receiver was introduced Thursday after signing a 2-year, $46 million contract, including $26 million guaranteed. Adams said, "I'm just here to help be another piece to hopefully get them over the hump. It was clear that this is where I needed to be." This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it for free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensate for their testimonials, sponsored by Age of Learning.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey there, everybody. Happy Friday, TGIF, as we get ready for another weekend here. Put some rocks in your pockets today and don't start a fire. It is going to be windy out there. Good thing you can sit inside and watch all the conference tournaments happening, although they will no longer feature any of our local teams in the Big 12 tournament. But we've got the Shockers alive in the AAC taking a shot at the top seed today. We'll get into all of that on the program, plus do a little catch-up, little cleanup work in the NFL. We missed yesterday. Too much college basketball to talk. We've also got a check-in from Royals spring training. We'll head out there and talk to Jaylon Thompson in the next hour. Get the latest on that Bobby Witt Jr. injury. How serious is it? And could it hold him back in spring training the rest of the way? But we'll get into all of that as we make our way through. My name's Jacob Albrock here with Tommy Kester. Max Power producing. He's taking your calls at 869-1240. Thank you for listening to us on KFH. Thanks for watching us on 12 News Plus, on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And thanks for listening to us whenever it is and wherever it is on the Odyssey app and KFHradio.com. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Happy Friday. Good to see you. Looking forward to watching some Shockers today. Looking forward to getting into all of it this weekend. It's going to be a busy show, but excited to get right into it.
We'll do that. We'll give away some HTO, and then we have another giveaway for you today. Golf fans or just clothing fans. We've got, you've heard Tommy talk a lot about 3570 Golf Co., and he wears a lot of that on Fridays. We're going to give you a chance to get some for yourself, a $120 gift card. We'll tell you a little bit later how you can enter to win one of those. So stay tuned for your opportunity there. Tommy, it's like the calm before the storm next week. We're going to be out and about quite a bit. We'll be out at the Blarney Breakfast on Monday. So make sure you make sure you find us if you're there. And then we're going to be out. You'll see us a lot Thursday and Friday out and about near the Intrust Bank Arena. It'll be early. We'll be out there live from 7 to 11 Thursday and Friday. If you want to come heckle us, feel free. I don't know what time they start serving beer down there on Thursday and Friday morning, but come make fun of us a little bit. Come say hi.
Hopefully they start serving it at like 7:01. That would be ideal if that's when all the bar trucks are set up and ready to go. It's going to be a busy week. We'll be on location more than not next week with the Blarney Breakfast Monday. Rainbows United, excited to support that. It'll be my first time at the Blarney Breakfast. I don't know if you've ever been there before.
I have not. Not.
It's. I mean, I know we talked to the folks at Rainbows United. I think last week or whenever it was, the 50th year of the Blarney Breakfast. It's been going on forever, a Wichita tradition on St. Patrick's Day. So looking forward to that on Monday, and then of course, as you mentioned, the NCAA tournament, Fan Fest, NAFSCAR Park. It's going to be just a busy, crazy week, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll have that. I'll be out there a lot, I think, live for 12 News too. So we'll either way, just kind of look for us out there by NAFSCAR. We may be there. If you're down there, come say hi. We appreciate it. Now you can officially join me, I think, Tommy, in hoping Kansas plays in Wichita because
yes,
they got busted last night by Arizona. It was an interesting game. Again, like they didn't play good enough defense. Like that's not going to be good enough defense when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And honestly, like I just kind of look at that. They gave up 45 and 43 points, 88. They're not going to score 88 points. And so, I mean, for me, Tom, and we'll get into this game specifically, it was just a game where they didn't have enough defense to beat a really good Arizona team. And I think the other, and I know they turned around and played a really good team 2 times in 4 days. But Arizona is the kind of team I think that KU would like to play in the NCAA tournament. Not typically a big-time 3-point shooting team. They did a good job of that last night. But it is. I don't know what we were supposed to take away from the Big 12 tournament. I didn't. There was nothing that was going to happen in the Big 12 tournament. I don't think that good or bad that really changed what we know about Kansas. They're going to be matchup dependent. And they're going to have to play like one of the top 5 defensive teams in the country like they have for most of the season if they want to make any kind of run.
Well, we talked about it yesterday, and I really think that Tommy Lloyd watched what happened in that opening game against UCF and took a bunch of notes. And also it was less than a week ago that these two teams matched up before in Allen Fieldhouse. And I think that Arizona knew what their game plan was. And I think any team going up against Kansas will know what their game plan should be. And that is to shoot lights out from 3 and not just, you don't even need to necessarily have a great shooting percentage from 3, but you need to take a lot of threes because once again, Kansas could not defend from beyond the arc. That's become a recurring issue, a recurring factor for the Jayhawks defensively. And that was something that Arizona took clear advantage of. Kansas is making even mediocre 3-point shooting teams look great. And Arizona, they're not a great 3-point shooting team this season. They haven't been, but they looked like one last night taking on Kansas. So that was a clear issue. It's become a clear issue and something that any team, I don't care if Kansas is a 6 seed, a 7 seed, an 8 seed, whatever, whoever the opponent is, whatever the draw is, that's going to be the game plan for whoever the opponent is in the opening round of the NCAA tournament.
And we did that earlier this week, and we'll get into that game. We'll get into the bracketology because it really, like when you talk about seeds, when you talk about locations, which probably not going to be better than a 7 seed now, I don't think. More like a 7, 8, 9, which does, yes, crack the door open back to Wichita, we think, because it's going to be Houston here as a 1, and probably now with A&M losing yesterday, probably Tech in as a 2, I would think, but we'll wait and see that. So that cracks the door open there. But again, what I think is more interesting to look at than location on bracketology, because that's impossible for the bracketologist to do, it's what would the potential matchups be? And I do think that there are better matchups for them as a 7 or 8 than as a 5 for sure. And 6 is sort of in between. So we'll take a look at that again, because I'm sure that's moved around a little bit since when we talk about that Tuesday, Wednesday, really kind of before all the conference tournaments started. So we'll have that. We'll preview the Shockers game today for sure too. And then again, We're going to go out to Arizona, check in on the Royals. It's going to be a fun show. Man, I hate that. I'm looking at the weather forecast for the tournament here, Tommy. Looks like it's not going to be cold. I mean, it'll be cold when we're out there on Thursday on game day here in Wichita, but it'll be average, which is around the high 50s. Now, if it's sunny and not windy, I think we take that as a major win, right? Like, I'll take that for sure. But I don't think we're going to get these 80-degree days we've been flirting with this week, and will flirt with literally right before the tournament gets here next week. So we'll have some fun with that. But when we come back, let's dig into this KU loss last night. Then we'll turn the page and look ahead to the Shockers in Memphis in this hour as well. Stick with us. Sports Daily, a couple giveaways for you. Stay on your toes, everybody. We'll be right back.
"66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust." Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, let's do this first giveaway here. It's a brand new giveaway, 3570 Golf Co., and it's going to start right now. All you have to do to win a $120 gift card is text the keyword text keyword golf to 20357. So it's golf, GOLF. You text that to 20357, and you are entered to win a $120 gift card that will get you things like you see Tommy wearing here on the show. Golf is the keyword, 20357. Tommy, they got a lot of good stuff. And now some listeners are going to get a chance to check that out too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that $120 gift card, that can get you a combination of things. Can get you 2 of the 3570 Golf Co. polos, maybe 2 hoodies, maybe a polo and a hoodie. You can combine however you want to with that $120 gift card, and you can check out their entire selection at 35x70golfco.com. And by the way, if you use the promo code Tommy, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. But that giveaway is awesome. It's a locally owned golf apparel company. All of their designs invoke feelings of this part of the country, the heartland, the Midwest, all of that. So you can check out their entire design. And of course, today's the Friday Fit. I'm wearing the Ka Polo, which has little designs of the state of Kansas all over it, which looks awesome out on the golf course, especially this time of year. So again, the website is 35x70golfco.com. Go online, check out all their designs. And then like you mentioned, Jacob, text the keyword golf to 20357 for your chance to win a gift card.
Hey, good luck, everybody. We love that. Love that they're local. Love that they're doing that. And welcome in and listen, because you'll have chances. What do we have for about a week here? You'll have chances to enter that contest. It'll be just in time for March Madness. So we're ready for it. All right, Tommy. March Madness begins somewhere next week for Kansas. We'll find out on Sunday. They fall last night to Arizona. We briefly touched on it. It's interesting. 77 points a KU offense, is good. You're like, whoa, okay. 14 made threes in the game. Okay. Like, whoa, hey, here we go. Like we're not when you play that kind of defense. And that's what I mean. So let that be the lesson. Even when KU plays well offensively, if they don't play great defense, they will not win against good teams in the tournament. They have to play good defense. It's the only way they're going to win games. I don't think they can win shootouts. They didn't last night, and that's what that game turned into against Arizona. So there you go. That was not the team I expected to flex on them offensively. But Kansas has perimeter defense problems. Even as great as their defense is, they have major perimeter defense problems, and they've got to find a way to at least patch it together. I think there's a little bit of a personnel issue there. I think we know at times DeJuan Harris can be a great defender. So again, I'd really have to get with somebody who's like breaking down the tape to know what's changed with him. But what the other thing, like, there's no more Kevin McCullough out there, for instance. You know what I mean? Like, that sort of perimeter defender isn't out there. So you've got some combination of Zeke Mayo, Rylan Griffin, and Diggy Coit. And, Storr didn't play much last night. But I think, part of the problem is Diggy Coit can't defend out there. And I wondered this, and I've been asking you this for 2 weeks. Can they take his offensive infusion? Can they afford to take it with what he's going to be lacking on defense? I know Boots on the Ground, host of the show, TJ Cleveland, told me last night, coming off at halftime, Bill Self was hot at Diggy Coit's defense. That's the issue there. Is can he play good enough defense for what this particular team needs? And I don't know. I mean, I think you're just going to.
I think the answer is no.
Well,
I think there's a large enough sample size where I think the answer is no.
Right. The answer is, can he play? No. But like, if you don't need his offensive infusion, like there are games where they just flat can't score, where they need to put him out there to try to get them some buckets, right? I get that. But if that's not the case, he can't play much because, again, like it's too critical for this team to defend well. And right now, he's not there defensively. Same question I would have with Zeke Mayo. I'm not sure. Again, I need to people that because of the rotations and the split, like all the different things that happen and coming off screens and all these things. I know that Fran Fraschilla did a nice job on a couple of possessions showing AJ Storr, whoever, going the wrong way around a screen and little bitty things like that. But I'd really have to dig in. That stuff's hard to catch just to the eye watching that stuff, but it's not good enough. And if they don't play that level of defense, they're in trouble. And so now it becomes this thing of, you don't want to see them play a good 3-point shooting team, but you also don't want to see them play a team that's smart and savvy enough to just figure that out and fire away, even if they're not a good 3-point shooting team.
Well, and the issues, defending the three, which it's interesting because it wasn't like there was just one thing that Arizona did that Kansas had a hard time combating to defend the three. I mean, it was a variety of things. They were not coming off the ball screens well at all. They weren't closing out well at all. And so all of these different things allowed for Arizona shooters in a lot of different ways to get open looks at three. And even if you are a mediocre 3-point shooting team, like Arizona has been all year long, they're down at the bottom of D1 basketball as far as nationally shooting the three. When Kansas isn't coming off of ball screens well, they're not closing out, that they're not getting a hand up, all these different things, you can make even a bad team look really good at shooting the three. And you give a team like Arizona, even though all year long they haven't shown it, if you give them a bunch of wide open looks, they're gonna kill you. They're gonna hurt you. And that's exactly what Arizona did in this game. It was the perfect game plan. And it's interesting how when you look at the box score offensively, and you started off this segment talking about it, all the different things offensively that Kansas did to shoot the three at a better clip than what we become accustomed to seeing them do, that makes it all that more shocking that they weren't able to keep up in a track meet when Kansas did shoot the ball well. DeJuan Harris was 4 of 4 from beyond the arc.
I know.
DeJuan Harris hasn't done that in I don't know how long. Like that hasn't been his game all season long. But he was able to do it last night. Zeke Mayo shot the ball well last night. Like this team was able to do it offensively, but then just absolutely fell asleep defensively again. And that's where Arizona got them.
So I'm curious to get your feel for this. On one hand, look, that game in the grand scheme doesn't matter, right? Who cares? That's just the way this season is. Like, you'd like to see Kansas win the Big 12 tournament. Great, fine. But I don't think it's got the same oomph as it might normally. So whatever, they lost. Now we look at the brackets. Are you still able, because I kind of am maybe, like seeing Zeke Mayo heat up a little bit does give me some encouragement now as we make our way into the big tournament. The defensive thing has been here all year. There are just particular games where they don't play well defensively, particular halves, whatever it is. So I'm not sure my opinion on that has changed. But boy, if you could tell me that the Jayhawks go into the tournament and Zeke Mayo is hot, like he's shooting well, I do think that makes me more optimistic about their chances for sure. So maybe that's the positive to take away from the Big 12 tournament is now we've seen, was it 3 games in a row where he's made 5 threes? So he's on a heater right now, and they're going to need that badly. They have to be better defensively, but I don't like what are you going to do at this point? We've seen some teams take advantage of it and some teams don't, and there's probably going to have to be some luck involved there with Kansas just, not playing a team that is shooting well in that particular game. Jerry Palm has them back on the 7 line. That's where he hasn't wavered from that. He has him on a 7 right now. I don't believe, let me double check this. Yeah, Lenardi has not updated his as of last night, and I didn't check his last night, but I think Tommy, we're going to see them as a 7. Lenardi still has him as a 6. So 6, 7. I think it would take some weird stuff happening for them to go down to an 8. So that's probably about where they are, a 6 or a 7. And then you got to look at who they play, right? And just see. But I like that Zeke Mayo's shooting well. I don't know what to. How do we count on the defense, right? Like what is changing from one game to the other as far as defending the 3 when they do it well or when they don't? I don't think it's as simple as the other team is just making shots in that particular game.
No, I mean, I don't think it's just, I don't think you can simplify it down to just that. But what I think we're seeing is, I mean, of course, in the Big 12 tournament, back-to-back games, even though Kansas got the win against UCF, both games, they didn't defend the 3 well. So it's actually trending where they're not doing it more often than they actually are. And I know that Bill Self post-game talked a little bit about the energy level for the team, and I think that that's part of it a little bit too. I mean, you remember back to the UCF game, Dickinson, Harris, Adams, all played a ton of minutes. Mayo played a ton of minutes. They all played a lot in that game. And then you turn around and you play Arizona again. And yeah, like there was some, lethargic effort, I think, like that on the defensive end, closing out and that sort of thing. But it's not just as simple as Arizona made shots or UCF made shots. It was the way that they ran their offense to get the open looks. Kansas just wasn't able to get to their spot. They weren't able to get to the perimeter to even get a hand up to close out, to even make that 3-point effort or attempt even more difficult or slightly more difficult for the opponent. Like there were a lot of plays where Arizona had wide open looks. Again, I don't care who you're playing in the NCAA tournament and what seed you are. You give any team wide open looks consistently, that's going to be really hard to combat, even if you do shoot it well on the other end of the floor. And we saw that last night.
So if I look at Palm's bracket right now, he's got them as a 7, playing Tennessee as the 2. I've told you for weeks, Tommy, that if you're looking at the 2s, Tennessee is probably the because they're a great defensive team and not a great offensive. I mean, they're a good offensive team. They're not a great offensive team, not elite. I think that would favor Kansas. So that wouldn't be the worst news in the world. They're the 2s right now. So if Kansas is a 7, Alabama, no, do not want to play Alabama. Tennessee would be fine with. Michigan State I'd be fine with, right? Kansas has beaten Michigan State. It's the same thing as Tennessee. That's probably the most desirable 2 because they're even a little worse offensively than Tennessee, and they're a good defensive team. So there's 2 2s in there. And Tech, while Kansas has played Tech tight, and in a third meeting you'd think they could do it, man, Tech is shooting the lights out right now. So it's like, okay, more of the same probably from what you saw in that last game against Tech at Allen Fieldhouse. They may come in and just shoot like crazy. So maybe Tech has become less of the option maybe we thought, but there is familiarity there, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Then you go and let's look at the 3s here. Iowa State, we'd be fine with. Wisconsin, let's just take a bird's eye at Wisconsin here and where they sit metrically. That's a bad defensive team and a better offensive team. So probably don't want Wisconsin on the 3 line. St. John's, we've talked about. We like St. John's there. Not a good of all these good teams in this range. St. John's is metrically, according to analytics, by far the worst offensive team of the group. So that's what we're looking at there. And then Texas A&M, who lost last night, kind of the same thing. They're also, so A&M's a good matchup too. So you got a situation where we're looking at two teams in the 2s you'd like to play, Michigan State and Tennessee, 2 teams in the 3s you'd like to play, St. John's and Texas A&M. You get down, they're not going to be a 5, so we don't even need to look at the 4s. But that's kind of what we're looking at when we talk about luck of the draw. And, of course, there's going to be luck of draw in the first round too, because you're either playing a 10 or an 11, and 10s and 11s are usually pretty good. They're either the absolute best of the mid-majors, Tommy, or they're like the worst of the power conference teams that have found a way to get in. So that first round's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I know we look a lot at Lenardi. We look a lot at Jerry Palm. I also like to look occasionally at USA Today. They do their own, bracketology. They updated theirs a couple of hours ago. They've also got Kansas on the 7 line playing Oklahoma as a 10 seed in the opening game. I kind of like that. I think that's a good matchup for Kansas. And then they're also in the same opening rounds where Tennessee is the 2 seed on the 2 line there. So I do like that. I mean, I like your first 2 games potentially being Oklahoma and Tennessee. I would take that. I'd sign up for that as a 7 seed. In Lexington is where they have Kansas currently there. And in the West region, that's where USA Today has Kansas. The 2 seed, like I mentioned, is Tennessee. The 3 seed is Texas A&M. So I would take that also. I think if everything ended today, I would take that draw for Kansas in the West region, starting in Lexington, with the first round matchup against Oklahoma, second round matchup against Tennessee, and the 3 seed in that region is Texas A&M.
I think we're also, as it pertains to Wichita, as Tech plays their way probably to the 2 line.
Yep.
The scenario exists that you brought up the other day. That'd be 3 Big 12 teams.
I just don't see that happening.
That's
probably
unlike, but if there are 8 or 9 teams that make it, that could happen anywhere. You know what I mean? Like at some point, they're going to have to bunch them together to some degree. Again, it's unlikely. It is worth pointing out that it has happened. It has happened a lot. It happened last year and the year before that, where teams with low seeds get placed essentially in their closest region, which is what this would be. It's still 2.5 hours away, but it's the closest region that would have people fired up. But man, like if I'm Tech right now, or if I'm Houston, I'm not scared of Kansas.
Not at all.
So I don't think you're like, if Kansas ended up in Wichita and that's where Houston and Tech are, I don't think you're going to hear those coaches be like, oh, how unfair is that? No, they're good matchups actually for Kansas.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it if I were Kelvin Sampson or Grant McCasland. Like I wouldn't like be jumping for joy, if Kansas plays in Wichita, which of course I don't think is going to happen. But if it did, if the committee made a decision to put Kansas in Wichita, I wouldn't love it if I were Houston or Texas Tech. But I'm not going to be bemoaning that. I'm not going to make that a storyline. I'm not going to have that be part of my narrative going into the tournament. And we've seen coaches do that in the past. Like they feel like it's an unfair draw or whatever, and they, start saying things. I don't think that's going to be either Houston or Texas Tech. I think honestly, the big loser from the last couple of days has got to be Texas A&M. I mean, they had an opportunity, to be a 2. I think that's pretty much out the window and play in Wichita, which I think their fans would have traveled pretty well to Wichita for that. And you get knocked off by Texas, and all of a sudden, like you're now looking at a 3, and you don't get that benefit of the doubt more than likely from the committee on your location.
I mean, nobody's driving from the Texas A&M home base there. That's a 14-hour drive to Wichita. So they were going to fly. The Aggie fans will fly anywhere. I'll tell you this. It's better for Wichita if Tech gets there, because now you're talking about an 8-hour drive from Lubbock to Wichita. It's not nearly as bad as like A&M. So I think for it, and look, the fans for Tech right now are just absolutely going insane for Texas Tech basketball. So I think as far as Wichita goes, and we can spend just a couple minutes here looking at that, I'd rather see Tech than A&M. Houston will obviously be fine. Houston would make a return trip, actually, which is kind of cool. Just looking around elsewhere at some of the other teams.
By the way, every single bracketology site I'm looking at, all of them have Houston and Texas Tech. Like that seems to be
because Tech won yesterday. Yeah,
right. That seems to be as close to a lock as it possibly could be. So I know we won't know for sure until Selection Sunday, but it's pretty likely that it's going to be Houston and Texas Tech.
So here's the other thing real quick. So here are some of the 8s, because we know we'll see an 8, right? UConn is in the 8s. That would be incredible. Creighton is in the 8s. That would be incredible. Oklahoma would be incredible. They're a 9. That would still be awesome. Gonzaga is a 9. That would also be cool. Awesome. So there are teams in that range, right? That 8, 9. And then what do you have? Then we need to look at the 10s. Arkansas is in there. That would be incredible. Baylor would be nice. There are a lot of teams. San Diego State, who travels well, would be another team sort of in the mix that was here the last time the tournament was played here. Indiana is an 11. There are some programs like bracketology or the Selection Sunday is going to be fascinating. Right now, Palm's bracket sucks for Wichita as far as those group of teams. St. Mary's, New Mexico, Quinnipiac, and UCLA would be good, but then Vanderbilt, meh, Montana, meh. But there's a lot of teams in those seeds though that are really good, and that's a crapshoot at that point. So maybe we miss on Kansas, but maybe we get UConn or Gonzaga or Indiana, and we'll get some of that. Anywho, we'll come back. Let's preview the Shockers when we return. Big matchup with Memphis today. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Man, allergy season, Tommy. Allergy season. Forgive me on the video streams if you see me like wiping my nose or sneezing or whatever. We're all fighting the good fight. To all the fellow allergy sufferers out there, good luck, everybody. Welcome back into Sports Daily. We're glad to be here with you. Let's look ahead for the Shockers tonight, Tommy, against Memphis. Wichita State knows they can beat Memphis. Right? They've beat them once and they played them twice really well. This is what we wanted. We wanted that to be the way this bracket fell. A chance to play Memphis. They know they can beat Memphis. Memphis historically has had a propensity to not seem to care as much in these kinds of spots. They're going to be a tournament team. They feel right for Wichita State to go in there and get them. The biggest win of the Paul Mills era by far came back in February, an overtime win against Memphis. The first time they played, it was an 8-point game. Both of those games had something in common. They got real ugly, and that's what the Shockers have to do again. Make it ugly against Memphis today.
I think you're absolutely right. And one of the things that Wichita State did really well against South Florida yesterday was not ever fold. Not ever wither away. They were able to get a lead out at a couple of different points, and then South Florida battled back and able to get back into the game a couple of different times. And I think the resiliency of the Shockers kind of, made itself known, especially in the second half when they were finally able to extend a lead out and then put South Florida away. And I know that even, South Florida down the stretch, they were able to cut it to, 2-possession game at one point late. So South Florida never went away, but Wichita State always felt like they were able to sort of counterpunch and keep South Florida at kind of an arm's length. And so I think that's important for them to play that kind of game yesterday leading up to a Memphis game. I think there are times where if you can get a game underneath your belt in a tournament type setting, and then you go in to face the top seed who's been on a bye and they've not had to play yet in the tournament, that could end up boding well for you, because you know what it's going to take, and you haven't been sitting on the sideline, for the first couple of games of the tournament. So I do like that draw for Wichita State. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not, they're able to, bring the intensity defensively, if they're able to, make the game a little bit ugly, but then also make the clutch shots on the offensive end.
Memphis is in, right? Memphis is going to be in the tournament. That's good. Whereas like North Texas, North Texas is going to have to play their way in. That'll be a tougher challenge, I think. Let's go back to the game yesterday against South Florida. Corey Washington, good in the game. They needed him. But, man, how about Bijan Cortez, Tommy? 20 points, career high. All the clutch shots. Actually shot the 3-ball a little bit. Made one of those, which, isn't normally his game. But, man, 7 assists and no turnovers. The crew on the game was raving about how Bijan Cortez takes care of the ball and is such a good passer and dribbler. I'm like,
it's a new development. It's a new development.
Man, it's awesome. It's so cool. It's so fun.
He has done a really good job over the last, probably 4 weeks of really kind of turning a corner in his game. And I hope that he gets the proper appreciation from the fan base, because he's a guy that has been easy to criticize for good reason. I think in some ways, like he's
made a lot of mistakes.
Been careless, a lot. It can be frustrating at times to watch him play. But I don't know what has triggered it, but over the last month or so, he's turned that corner and he has taken pretty good care of the basketball. And offensively, he shot the ball well. He's great at distributing the ball. Like all the different things that we've been frustrated with him about, and the fan base has been frustrated with him about, it's like it has either been minimized or totally gone away. And in the game yesterday against South Florida, it went away entirely. He was as close to perfect in that game against the Bulls as he has ever been, with the career high in points, not turning the ball over, adding the assists, all of that. They're going to need, again, that kind of performance from him, I think, in today's game against Memphis. And then from there, the sky's the limit.
It has been as good a redemption story as I can remember. And I think Paul Mills, I don't remember what the point was. There was some like self realization with Cortez. Like you can just but it just bleeds out, right? Like he's sort of the energy of this team. And for much of the season, it's needed to be Xavier Bell, who's had, an incredible season, the local, who first team all conference, all of the great things Bell's done. Bell wasn't good yesterday, right? Was in foul trouble for much of the game, wasn't really scoring, was not shooting it particularly well, turned it over 4 times in only 21 minutes. That's okay, because Cortez was there to pick it up. Now, like for me, that gives me a lot of confidence that one of those two guys, right, will be able to pick up the other one. And I think that matters. So you've got those 2 point guards now that are doing that. And then, steady Eddie Corey Washington, who just doesn't get enough credit. I really, really hope he stays at Wichita State in the offseason and they can build around him. He's been such a good player for them. But yeah, for Cortez, not just like all the numbers that we talked about, but it was so clear. Like he willingly just put the team on his back and was like, all right, here we go. Like, we're just going to I got you. Don't worry. Like, let's settle in. Because remember, they had a huge lead, 16 points. I think it was the biggest moment of the lead in the second half. And South Florida went on one of those runs. And those runs are dangerous for Wichita State because they're not the most gifted offensive team. It's like, how are they going to break this run? And South Florida, it was almost like Tulsa again, right? South Florida's getting some easy buckets. Wichita State couldn't score. And it's like, no. They've played too well for too much of this game. And then when it got down to 4, Cortez was like, you know what? I got it. Drives in, gets the and one. And that was the turning point of the game. Just it's been a really cool story, probably as cool as any individual story this year, to see him turn that corner late in the season. And he's become a real weapon. Like, if you're telling me Bijan Cortez is going to have 7 assists and not turn the ball over, you can sign me up for that all day. Even as he's been really good, Tommy, he still turned the ball over a little bit. Not yesterday, though. And they couldn't afford for him to. Now, we get into a game against Memphis. Wichita State's not going to be able to turn the ball over. Let me go back and look in that overtime win at some of the things that happened in that game to help Wichita State. So first and foremost, holding them to 28 first half points is a good place to start. Now, Memphis woke up in the second half, but the Shockers matched them, right? But if you go back and look at that game, in an overtime game, Tommy, Wichita State only turned it over 8 times. That's going to have to be a key today. They cannot turn the ball over and give Memphis easy buckets. Cannot do it. They'll be toast if they turn the ball over. And then, of course, they have to play good defense, which they have to every game, and most of the time they do. So I'm not as worried about that, but they can't turn the ball over. Absolutely cannot do it.
They can't do that. And Memphis has been really, really good over the last couple of months. And, it always seems like there's a period in a season of a team coached by Penny Hardaway where they kind of disappear or they have major letdowns. they've been pretty good as of late. They're 13-1 going back to their last 14 games. Was that one loss, the Wichita State game?
I believe so.
I think that's probably what it was. But other than that, every single game has been a win over the last 14 for Penny's crew. PJ Haggerty, they're going to have to figure out a way to slow him down. I mean, he is absolutely a major threat for Memphis, and the guy that, as far as an offensive threat is concerned, can get the job done. And so that Wichita State's got to find a way to disrupt what he can do offensively. And one thing that Penny has this year, and I feel like, and maybe I'm forgetting about other Memphis teams over the last few years, but I feel like this team is more of a veteran team than a lot of other Memphis teams as of late, maybe over the last 5 years or so. There are a lot of seniors on this team.
Yeah.
And the experience is there. And so that would, lead me to believe that they know the importance of taking care of the basketball and not turning it over, and making sure that they're not making those careless mistakes in a setting like this. So the challenge, we all know the challenge is going to be pretty difficult for the Shockers to get Memphis off their game. But as I mentioned a moment ago, the Tigers are 13-1 in their last 14 games, and that one loss is against Wichita State. Can be done, has been done. They could do it again.
You have to beat a more talented team.
You have to.
Yeah. So, but they know, but everybody knows that. And the last time they played them, they had a formula to do that. You make the game ugly, you take care of the basketball, and then the other thing for me is they out-rebounded Memphis. Can they do that again? That's a big ask to out-rebound Memphis. Let's go back to the first time they played, when they had a shot at the game, right? They actually had a 4-point halftime lead. They turned the ball over a ton, and that's what I wanted to look at. Yeah, they turned the ball over a ton, and I think a lot of those came in the second half. But they were doing some of the other things. They out-rebounded Memphis in that game, Tommy. But the difference was the turnovers. So their formula is tried and true, and they still have to execute it, which will be a challenge because Memphis is really good. But it's, get it ugly, win the rebounds, and then the difference between the first two games is you can't turn the ball over, because if you give Memphis easy buckets, you're not gonna do what you need to. You just can't do it. Wichita State's not good enough offensively to make up for that. So now when we see Bijan Cortez come off the kind of game we saw him play yesterday and take care of the ball that way, like if you can promise me that the Shockers will have what's the number? Let's just make up a number here because it's radio and we can do that. I'll call it, Tommy, 12 or fewer. They got to have 12 or fewer turnovers in this game. And I would like to see it even lower, but we'll go 12 or fewer.
I think they've got to have single-digit turnovers. I mean, there's a reason why they only had 8 in the game when they beat Memphis. I don't think you can get up to 12 and still beat them. I mean, I think it's got to be 10 or less.
Now, if it's 8, if you're going to tell me it's 8, like I might go as far as to say I'll take the Shockers. I'm just saying, like, if it gets much more than that, I'm not going to give them much of a chance. I haven't looked at this line. Let me see if it's out yet. They've been a little late on these lines in the tournament games here for Wichita State. It's
Memphis. I've got Memphis laying 9.5.
Ooh, you taking that money line? We're going to get in on that money line today. It'd be fun.
I would certainly take Wichita State to cover 9.5. I think
I would too. Yeah, I like the cover. As far as
2-possession game.
As far as bets go, I like the cover.
Yeah.
But man, it's March, baby. We got to take a shot at that money line, don't we? Like you got to get into it. Like if it's a noon game. Like
I might throw a couple shekels on it. It's a Friday. I know you don't work today, so you're going to be just a betting degenerate today.
I don't work TV. I do work. I work a lot on Fridays, just not on TV. But yeah, I will have an opportunity to get a little degenerative today. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put something together wacky. We'll see if the markets have caught up with Bijan Cortez's points and some other wild and crazy things. So like that bet's totally the Shockers, the under, right? And then something, maybe probably nothing else. Like you could just leave it there. Like the Shockers in the under, right? And then you just don't hope it goes to overtime again. I don't want to get I don't want to give this false sense of hope though here today, Tommy, either, because Memphis is really good.
You can get right now Wichita State on the money line plus 360 on the money line.
Man, to put that with the under, you're going to be up around 4.5, 5 to 1. I'm tempted. All right, we're going to come back. Hour number 2, more college hoops talk, a little NFL talk, and we'll check in on the Royals. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now. 831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
and inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of Sports Daily on this Friday. Tommy Castor, Jacob Albrocht, Max Power producing the program as we get you ready for the weekend, get you ready for a shocker game, get you ready for Selection Sunday later this weekend. We've got a lot on the schedule and the calendar as we go through our Friday, Jacob.
Yeah, it's the best time of the year. I'd always debate in my head, what is the most fun part of the sports calendar? Start of Major League Baseball this close, March Madness. The thing, we get a football fix, Tommy, because the off season's so crazy. I love the start of football season too, and fantasy football and all that stuff, but it's pretty hard to beat this, right? You've got games all day, and this is a short window, but the tournament is a blast, and I like these conference tournaments probably a little more than most do. One piece of college basketball news that I think is really interesting across the country is this Cooper Flagg injury. Did you see him helped off floor yesterday, Tommy?
It's a little concerning. It doesn't sound like, according to John Shire, he's super optimistic about at least Flagg's availability in the ACC tournament. I don't know what things look like past that, but that was not a good looking injury.
No, and I guess long term it's okay, but Duke's the heavy favorite with him, right? Don't you think? If he plays, they're the heavy favorite this year.
I don't know about heavy favorite, but they'd be the favorite. I mean, I think that
they've been killing people.
There are some other teams that I think Houston would like a word about that.
I love Houston.
I think I would say favorite. I don't know if I would say heavy favorite necessarily.
They just their margins remind me of UConn, right? They're the second. Ken Palm has them as the second best offense, the fourth best defense. They are just smashing people, and I hate that because I don't want to pick them. I'm probably not going to pick them in my brackets. I don't like when there's the heavy favorite.
Okay, so right now, I mean, just looking at futures, for a national champion, Duke is not the favorite to win the whole thing. Auburn is the favorite
bet Duke
right
was
now.
The favorite before the Flagg injury. Maybe not.
Yeah, might have been. That's a good point. I obviously didn't look at it before then, but as of right now, Duke is not the favorite to win the whole thing.
I mean, I'm not taking Auburn, so maybe it is Duke. Right now, I've got for me. It's either going to be Duke, Houston, Tech. Man, there's this very.
How do you feel about Florida? Do you like Florida?
I do like Florida. I don't know if I like them to win a national championship, but I like them as maybe one of my Final Four teams. I think the teams I'm considering to make deeper runs outside of the top, we'll call it 2 or 3 seeds. I like Iowa State potentially to do that. I'm with the masses sort of with Maryland. Not as much as I do like Clemson. I like them to win games, but Clemson would fit in that for me. I'll tell you the other one that interests me to make the deep run is BYU, Tommy. Did you watch BYU yesterday?
I did. In fact, I thought this was kind of funny. I saw somebody on Twitter or on X post after the game that having BYU fans sticking around through the weekend while Iowa State fans go home is the worst thing possible for all the bars in Power and Light.
Yeah, that's what
which I think is very true.
I said the same thing. I said, here, I'll tell you what I said, because I thought my head went to the same place because I love that term. I said, if BYU hangs on against Iowa State, there's going to be a lot of leftover beer in Power and Light.
Yeah, totally. They looked really good, and they've been an under the radar dangerous team all season long. And the Big 12 obviously knows about them, but I'm not sure outside of the conference they're getting the kind of attention or respect, for that matter, that they deserve.
Well, yeah, probably not. They do things that we like in the tournament, I think, as much as anything else. They can all shoot. All of them can shoot, and they can just score like crazy. Now, they're not nearly the good defensive team probably that it will take to make a run in the tournament. But they can, they're not going to win a national championship, but that could absolutely be a team you see make it onto the Final Four.
Totally. By the way, I just looked it up. Before the Cooper Flag injury, Duke and Auburn were tied as the favorites to win the whole
good. That
thing.
means
now Auburn is, the clear favorite as of right now.
It means a lot of people are going to take Auburn, and that's good because I don't want to take Auburn. I want to, I think, take Houston. I think Iowa State is as intriguing a team because they're good offensively and defense. I mean, that's kind of what I do. Like, who's good on offense and defense? BYU doesn't fit that criteria, by the way. They're not good on defense, but they're incredible on offense. Like, who are those teams when you look at like a non-1 or 2 seed that could make a run? I always just sort of default there. Like, well, who's really good on offense and defense? And I know it gets even more specific than that historically, but you can take a pretty good shot at it. Like who's top 20 both places? Tennessee's interesting. Tennessee's the best defense in the country, but they're kind of outside. They're KenPom has them at 23 right now offensively. A little bit of a stretch. Florida fits that criteria to a T, right? Top 5 offense, top 10 defense.
Florida. I really like Florida.
Florida's a team to watch. Florida's a team to take on a run, probably in your brackets. I know there's one more that I kind of like that I'm forgetting about, and I can't think of who it is. Do you have any other dark horses right now that you're sort of circling and saying, "Yep, I might ride this team a little bit in the tournament"?
One team that comes to mind is Michigan State. Because everybody always talks about Tom Izzo and
he's good for the Sweet 16
time of year.
Yeah.
So, are we talking about a potential dark horse?
Final Four? No, not national champion.
I think Michigan State could be a Final Four team. I don't think they'll win the whole thing, but I could see them making it to the Final Four.
Yeah. No, I think the criteria to win a championship is tighter, right? I'm just talking about to make it through their region, basically. I kind of like Kentucky to make a little bit of a run. I don't know if they're a Final Four team necessarily, but I could see them being a second weekend team. I like what Mark Pope has done in his first year with the Wildcats. So that would be another team I would look at. They're not very good defensively. So here are the teams that, like, by history, it'll be Clemson, and it would be Clemson. Clemson's the team that fits the criteria, right? They're good on offense. They're good on defense. That's the team probably to watch. And it's hard to, and I hate this because we don't get, like, we're only reacting Monday. So, like, we have this show and then there's so much basketball that will be played before we get to even Selection Sunday. Then when we're back on the air Monday. So just a few minutes here to sort of look at the teams right now. If regardless of bracket, right, let's throw the brackets in the trash can and just say, who would we put in the Final Four right now? For me, it's going to be Duke. It's going to be Houston. It's going to be Tech. And then I'm torn right now, Tommy, between like Florida, Tennessee, and I don't think I'm gonna put Michigan State there. It's either going to be likely Florida or Tennessee for me. So that's going to be like, if I can get it there, if the regions line up, I'll have Duke, I'll have Houston, I'll have Tech, and I'll have either Florida or Tennessee, and I haven't decided on the fourth yet.
Yeah, if you would ask me today, I wouldn't have Duke in there just because we don't know how long Cooper Flag is going to be out. He's got a sprained ankle.
Right.
There's no fracture, there's no broken bones or anything, which is good, but we don't know what his status is going to be for next week at least. So as of right now, I'm not including Duke just because we don't know. I'd probably say Houston, Auburn. I like Alabama. I know you're not high on Alabama.
No, I like Alabama more than I like Auburn. I like Alabama.
I like Alabama, and then I would probably say Florida would be my other team, and then a dark horse would be a Michigan State. That I'm not going to put them in my Final Four.
Michigan State's going to end up as a 2 seed.
I know. I'm not going to put them in my Final Four, but I think they would be like my 5th team. Potentially. That I wouldn't be shocked if they did find a way to make it all the way.
I know what you mean. When you say dark horse, you mean nobody's going to pick them, but I think they're going to end up on the 2 line. So, I mean, it won't be outrageous. I just don't think anybody's giving them enough credit. So, yeah, I get what you mean there.
As far as like a big time dark horse, like a team that nobody would talk about, maybe making a Final Four run, because there's always that team that makes a run. It was NC State a year ago, right? We talked about him a moment ago. BYU would not shock me at all if they get all the way to the Final Four.
I like BYU to make a run. I think Clemson would be the more likely team in that range. I don't know what seed Iowa State's going to get, but I love Iowa State in the tournament. But again, like they're going to end up as like a 3 seed, probably, maybe a 4. So is that and BYU is going to be in that same range? Is there who's the double digit team this year? Like who's that crazy team? And I don't even know this year. Baylor could end up as a double digit seed. That would be interesting.
How about Drake? I think Drake would be the team that I would look at.
They're a great story, man.
They're such a great team. Did you see, by the way, that Ben McCollum, there's a lot of smoke and interest that he might be the next coach at Indiana?
From Division II to Indiana in 2 years.
In 2 years.
Just wild.
And that would be a brilliant hire from Indiana if they brought him in.
Can he bring all his Northwest Missouri players with him to Indiana too? Like,
well, I'm sure he would try.
Yeah, can he figure out a way to do that? I don't know.
Can you imagine like it with the Hoosiers going from like a legendary like grandfatherly figure in Mike Woodson with all this NBA experience and everything that he's done over the course of his career, legend with Indiana, to a guy who was a Division II coach a couple of years ago. Like the perception of that is wild, but McCollum's got chops and he's got Drake playing so well. Drake would be a team that I would absolutely mark down to make a run.
Yeah, it's gonna. They're gonna get in that range where they're gonna be tough. But yes, they're the most likely team I think right now to pick as a double-digit winner in the first couple of rounds. Absolutely, I agree with you there. But we gotta wait to see the brackets. All right, let's talk a little football next, and then we'll talk baseball later in the hour. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW. KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Sports Daily. We continue in the NFL to wait on what happens with Aaron Rodgers. The Vikings, the Giants, maybe the Steelers still in the mix. I was talking to some Vikings fans yesterday. There's a lot of Vikings fans in Wichita, oddly, but there are. I don't know what the feel would be for Aaron Rodgers to come into Minnesota. Like, I get it from Minnesota's perspective. Minnesota has had another great offseason. They are absolutely in a position to win a Super Bowl. It's the worst thing in the world to bring in Rodgers if McCarthy's not ready. Like, he's coming off a serious injury. Like, I get it. I think you just have to have an honest conversation with Rodgers. And it's like, look, if you get outplayed or if we need to put in McCarthy, are you going to be a turd about it? Or are you going to be okay with it?
No, he'd be a turd about it. I mean, I think that everybody knows that, right? Like, that's kind of the way.
But if you can have that conversation, though, now and have it out in the open, like, here's the situation, Aaron. Like, we want you to come be our quarterback. But if you struggle, you have to be okay if we give JJ McCarthy a look and you cannot be disruptive for it. Are you okay with that? Because if you're not, like, if that's not of interest, then don't come here. Like,
but at that point, you're expecting Rodgers to live up to that. Like, you're expecting, because I mean, let's just say he's like, oh yeah, I'm good with that. He's not going to be good with that, and it's going to be disruptive.
I think it's different though than it was with the Jets and when he left Green Bay, because I think, well, here's what I mean. I don't know that he's different. I think the situation's different. And so, like, coming into it with honest, the situation's different because they were putting the future of their franchise on his shoulders or not. Minnesota's not going to do that, right? Minnesota's bringing him in to be sort of their next year. We think we have a chance at a Super Bowl guy. I mean, I guess you could always cut him, but I get it. Like, I don't hate it for Minnesota. I think it makes more sense for Pittsburgh because in Pittsburgh, it's unquestioned. Like, you're just going to be the starter in Pittsburgh. In all the things that we've heard about him, it's never been that he's been a bad teammate. He's been a bad player to coach, I think, but I don't think he's ever been considered like a bad teammate. I think he was great for Jordan Love. So like bringing him in with a young quarterback, it doesn't like, I'm not immediately like, ugh, right?
He might have been great. And I don't know the answer to this, but he might've been great, in working with Jordan Love and being in the locker room with Jordan Love, like all of that. But there was a lot of drama when Jordan Love was selected. That was external noise that didn't help the organization. And it had to do with Jordan Love.
Right.
That was not, productive. That was not productive.
That's what I mean. That's an organizational issue more than a like inside. I just like what you can't have if you're Minnesota is him come in there and mess up JJ McCarthy. And I don't think that's likely no matter what happens. So no, like, are you okay with everything else if you're Minnesota? I mean, you can always cut him. It's not going to be for a ton of money if he goes to play for Minnesota. If he goes to play for Minnesota, it's going to be to try to win a championship. That's it.
Who's a better quarterback, Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields?
Or Justin Fields?
Yeah.
Give me a little more. I'm going to need a little bit more for 1 year.
Who's a better starting quarterback for the New York Jets? Aaron Rodgers or Justin Fields?
Fields.
Okay, so like Aaron Glenn and the Jets organization made a conscious decision
to
not have Aaron Rodgers be their starting quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers is a 4-time MVP and a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Ask me the same question. Who would be a better quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Fields or Aaron Rodgers? And I'd tell you, I think it's Aaron Rodgers.
Who's a better quarterback for the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers or JJ McCarthy?
Well,
I think that's the more important question.
That's an impossible question to answer, though. We haven't seen McCarthy play.
But would you rather have the upside and the unknown of JJ McCarthy? And why you drafted him for a reason to be?
I know, but
that's
where this season gets really interesting because they are absolutely a Super Bowl contender. JJ McCarthy could be great, but still be a rookie essentially this year. Those two things can happen at the same time. He's also coming off of a significant injury. I don't mind the Vikings hedging with a backup plan if it takes him even if it takes him time to come back from the injury.
I don't mind them hedging with the backup plan if McCarthy's not healthy enough to go. If he's healthy enough to go, then you've hitched your wagon to JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
They were going to start him as the starting quarterback last season before Sam Darnold. If McCarthy is healthy enough to go, I think you have to ride with the guy that you drafted to be the future of your organization. If he's not healthy, I'm okay with hedging with the backup plan, but I don't think that backup plan is Aaron Rodgers, nor do I think Aaron Rodgers would have an interest in being a backup plan. I think Rodgers would be more likely to retire and walk away than be a backup plan in Minnesota.
Boy, that's a good question. Daniel Jones, there was some reporting that they would have been fine to let Daniel Jones be that backup plan. All of that being said, I think there is some concern with McCarthy getting back for the start of the season fully healthy. Or we wouldn't be, I agree with you. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. They would just roll with McCarthy. So I think the bigger question and the question for Vikings fans is, are you willing to deal with distraction and any of that noise if it means you've got a quarterback that's capable, right, in Aaron Rodgers for at least some of the season? I think it's an interesting conversation. I will also tell you that I think it makes way more sense for him to go to Pittsburgh because there it's unquestioned, right? Like there's no competition in Pittsburgh. There's also no competition in New York, but why would Aaron Rodgers go to the Giants? Like the Giants aren't winning the Super Bowl. You can at least make the case for Pittsburgh, and you can for sure make the case for Minnesota that they could win a Super Bowl. So
I don't think he's going to go to the Vikings. I don't think that that's a likely fit or a good fit for him or the Vikings. I think that it's JJ McCarthy if healthy. If it's not JJ McCarthy and he's not healthy, then I think the Vikings pivot to another probably less controversial choice, because there would be, whether it is by their own making, by Aaron Rodgers making, by the media, whatever it is, there would be a quarterback controversy at some point in the season with Minnesota. And I don't think the Vikings want to go down that path.
Yeah, I'm looking at the latest reporting, and what we're saying is the latest, right? The Giants are offering the most money, Pittsburgh seems the most likely, and the Vikings are still having conversations about, what they do this year and have interest. But I think with the Vikings, here's where it would get interesting. If it's the Vikings, it ain't going to be the most money. And if we see Rodgers take that, it's because he wants another shot at the Super Bowl. If he takes the Giants for the money, it's obviously about the money. And then Pittsburgh is somewhere in between all that. I still think he ends up in Pittsburgh. Makes too much sense. It's always made too much sense. He's a quarterback that can play in cold weather if they are playing in cold weather in the most meaningful games. Rodgers to Pittsburgh, to me, has always made the most sense. I still think that's what ends up happening. But, the Minnesota part of it added a little bit more drama and flair. The Cowboys get a little drama and flair. DeMarcus Lawrence leaves and throws a little shade that they're not going to win, and then Micah Parsons gets after him, and then what a disaster, man! What a disaster. Micah Parsons needs to just play. They're not doing it. They let Rico Dowdle go. What are they doing?
They signed Miles Sanders today. Did you see that? Miles Sanders is now the replacement for Rico Dowdle in Dallas. DeMarcus Lawrence is not wrong. He wasn't going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas. And so now, will he win a Super Bowl in Seattle? Probably not. But he's not wrong as far as he had to get out of Dallas because he wasn't going to win a championship. Micah Parsons.
I wish they'd have traded him. I'm going to go on the record right now and tell you I wish they'd have traded Micah Parsons last year.
I mean, they would have gotten a good amount of value.
Yeah. He's too noisy. It's too noisy. I think he's a great player, but if they could have got a big return for him, he's going to be really expensive, and he's not helping. He's not helping. He can't decide if he's mad or happy. He just is always something.
Did you see the reports this morning that the Cowboys are a likely landing spot for Cooper Kupp?
I sure did, which it's fine. Look, it's fine. They've got a lot of money to spend if they want to spend a bunch of it on Cooper Kupp because they didn't spend it anywhere else. I don't think Cooper Kupp's going to make them worse, right? Okay, fine. They just you freed up all this money, and it's great. They freed up all this money, and then you're signing Miles Sanders, and you're re-signing your long snapper. And
they got their punter back. They did sign their punter to a deal. Can you? I'm trying to picture in my mind an offense that is Dak, Miles Sanders, CeeDee Lamb, and Cooper Kupp.
Look, and Javonte Williams. I would tell you this, that if they can block, and that's
Rico
a big
Dowdle
concern.
is better than both of those guys.
I don't think I agree with that.
You don't think that Rico Dowdle is a better running back than Miles Sanders and Javonte
Than Miles
Williams?
Sanders, yes. Than healthy Javonte Williams, I think it's a wash. Dowdle had a much better year than I thought he would have last year, but he had a lot of opportunities. Dowdle was fine, but I don't think going from Dowdle to Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders is not going to impact to me a lot of what they still may draft a running back, by the way, but I don't think that's going to be the impactful thing. I don't hate an offense that is Dak, Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, and whatever else their third right. I think that could be a really good offense if they can block it up. They've got a lot of holes on the line. Zach Martin just retired. They'll be 8-8 again next year, Tommy. They'll have that if Dak stays healthy. Obviously, they'll be 8-8 again, 9-7, whatever it is. It's 9-8 now, or 10-7, or whatever, and they'll lose in the playoffs. It's inevitable.
I'm still thinking about the fact that you think that Javonte Williams is better than Rico Dowdle. I think that it's.
I didn't say that he's better. I think it's a wash. I don't think they're losing anything.
And you know what? If it's a wash, they got a fairly comparable running back cheaper, so at least they're saving money. At least Jerry Jones is out here.
That's good for most teams. It's irrelevant for the Cowboys, right? Because they don't use it.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't an upgrade.
No. It wasn't an upgrade. The only upgrade they were going to make at running back would be to draft a running back. And I'm not sure that I think they should draft a running back either. They're going to have to, if they're not good on the offensive line, all of this is irrelevant. The Cowboys need a bell cow. They just need somebody to hand the ball to keep play action alive. But it's just like Cooper Kupp is the Rams don't let him walk unless there are serious concerns about his health. And there already were anyway. But like it's not like they were concerned about his age. They just went and signed Devontae Adams for a bunch of money. It's his health. And it'd be so Cowboys to sit on all your money and then throw it all at an aging, often injured wide receiver. Like that is as Cowboys as it gets. It just is. Like I don't know what else to say. Like it's that's what they do.
I just don't know like what do you even say? Like what do you even say at this point? I just don't know.
Nothing. They're totally irrelevant. They're the most irrelevant win 10 games every year team ever. Like they win so many games. Now again, Dak was hurt last year, so they didn't win a ton of games last year, and they haven't in the 2 times he's been hurt. But every other time, like they win a bunch of games. But like Cooper Kupp's not putting them over the edge. Building the league's best defense would have put them over the edge, right? Like building around Micah Parsons and doing some of those things. They'll draft well. They almost always do, right? They'll bring in some good young players. There'll be times next year where you watch them and you'll be like, whoa, all right, they're good. And then Dak will Dak, and they'll get a wild card and lose in the playoffs.
Do you think that it's possible that they could find a way to get like Ashton Jeanty in the NFL draft? Like,
absolutely.
I'm guessing they'd have to trade up if they wanted to.
No, they're in a pretty good. They're in a pretty good draft spot.
He could fall to them.
Yeah, where they pick the middle of the first round. Yeah. I mean, but again, like I like Ashton Jeanty, but I don't think that's the best thing for the Cowboys to do. Because they need an offensive line, or it doesn't matter. Yeah, they picked 12. Jeanty could definitely fall to them. But that's not gonna be like Ashton Jeanty's not putting them over the edge. As much as I like him, unless they can block, it doesn't matter who they have. That's what I mean about Dowdle, Sanders, Javonte Williams. Like, doesn't matter if they can't block. And right now, they don't. On paper, they've lost just a ton on the offensive line.
Hey, by the way, kind of off the Cowboys note, how do you feel about Minshew mania in Kansas City now? Gardner Minshew signed a deal to be Patrick Mahomes' backup.
Perfect. I actually love it. I like it a lot. I like it better than Carson Wentz. If I'm being perfectly honest, he fits the profile of Patrick Mahomes is getting older. Like the Chiefs' backup quarterback position has become a really important one. Carson Wentz didn't need to do anything, but in past years they have. And I think Gardner Minshew is a perfect fit for Kansas City, honestly. A very capable quarterback that in a worst case scenario could get in there with a talented roster and help bridge the gap. Yes, I think Minshew's like literally the definition of who the Chiefs should target as a backup quarterback.
I like it too, because whether we're talking about Carson Wentz or Chad Henne before that, Blaine Gabbert, like those guys they were all a kind of a different style of quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. And Gardner Minshew he's not, I mean, let's be clear, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but he can sort of play a little bit more in that style. And so in a worst case scenario, if something happened to Mahomes, I don't think you would need to necessarily change the playbook at all for Minshew, where, I mean, there were times like Chad Henne was old, like he couldn't really move a whole lot. Like I think he was good, but it wasn't like you could just roll him out there with the same kind of offense and have it operate, and continue to roll. I think that it's more likely that a guy like Gardner Minshew can keep it rolling to a larger degree.
I agree with that. And we got to imagine what we think the Chiefs offense is going to look like next year. And right now it looks like a bunch of really good pass catchers on quick routes and on, getting open at the line. Like Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Travis Kelce all kind of do the same thing. I know how fast Worthy is. I get it, but the deep ball was maybe he'll get better at that. But Hollywood Brown, like you're looking at a bunch of receivers that can get the ball in their hands quickly and make things happen after the catch. They've got 3 of them, if not 4, with Hollywood Brown. Like that, yeah, that's what I mean. Like Minshew, that'd be exactly what I'd want for Gardner Minshew. A distributor, basically. Like, remember Drew Brees back in his heyday? He just fed it to about 14 different receivers a game. and never like that's what the Chiefs offense is probably going to look like next year. And I think Minshew is a great backup for that. And again, like people may roll their eyes at talking about backup quarterbacks, but backup quarterbacks for the Chiefs over this dynasty have played meaningful spots for Kansas City at just in times. They've been brief, but they've been meaningful.
I mean, the Chiefs don't win one of their Super Bowls without Chad Henne, coming in and filling in and being able to.
Matt Moore. When did Matt Moore had a significant?
Yeah, Matt Moore was there the year that Mahomes
got hurt on the quarterback sneak.
Had the kneecap deal, and Moore came in. I think he started 2 or 3 games that year.
And so yeah, look, it is important. It's all important when you're talking about a Super Bowl. It's so funny to go from what we were just talking about with the Cowboys to what we just talked about with the Chiefs. You're talking about like moves of massive significance for Dallas and then a minor as an aside move for the Chiefs. But the reality is that as an aside move for the Chiefs is far more likely to have an impact on the Super Bowl, right? Because it doesn't matter what the Cowboys do with Cooper Kupp, they're not going to the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs probably are, right? And so, yeah, their backup quarterback means something. We'll come back. We're going to go to Arizona next, check in with Jaylon Thompson from spring training. What's the latest on Bobby Witt Jr.? Stick around, find out.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Sports Daily is on KFH. And now, digging deeper with the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily. Thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us fueled up here each and every day on KFH. We welcome in Jaylon Thompson, Royals beat reporter for the Kansas City Star. Jaylon, welcome in. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. Can't believe it's almost time. Baseball is here.
And then, the obvious, most pressing lightning rod issue right now that everybody's concerned with. Nobody can, get enough information on the Royals backup outfielder situation. So, what is no, just kidding here. Bobby Witt Jr. Is he fine?
Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He had a left forearm contusion, so still sore.
That just means a bruise, right?
It
means he got hit and it's gonna bruise. Is that contusion?
Yeah,
Okay.
For sure. Yeah, still sore, but he should be fine. Well ahead of opening day, he'll be out there.
I got to ask you. I mean, I know that just everybody really gasped big time when he had that injury, and just you kind of saw the season flash before your eyes. And I mean, at least I did when all that went down. Clearly Jacob and I had this conversation the other day. There's not a more, at least in my opinion, a more important, impactful player on any given team in Major League Baseball than Bobby Witt Jr. and his importance to the Royals. I was trying to think of who else it could be around the league, but I mean, it just shows basically all the hopes and dreams are on this guy's shoulders.
Yeah, especially last year. He accounted for, I believe, 10.4 wins above replacement. So that's 10 wins that you take away from the Royals if Bobby Witt Jr. were to go down for a significant period of time. So I can't think of anyone that means so much to their organization more than Bobby Witt Jr. I think the Royals, they know that everything revolves around him. So it's imperative that he's healthy and he's ready to go for this year.
What was it like out there for about that 12 hours? Because back here, it was chaos. It was, I used it, it's one of my favorite terms, but it told Tom, it was like, butts are puckered. Everybody's just like, oh no, we're all so excited about this season. And then in that moment, you're like, oh no, wait, what if that happens? What was that like out there, boots on the ground?
Yeah. When you're watching the spring training game, you always have in the back of your mind that one pitch could drastically change or, the outlook of a season, because these guys are playing baseball, and even though it's in the spring and the records don't matter, the stats don't matter, but you're still getting the ball thrown at you and you're still trying to hit it. So when you get hit like that, just to see, how Bobby had to shake it off. Matt Cottrell, Royals manager, said initially he couldn't feel feeling in his fingers, but it was coming back, and then you go through the whole thing, and you saw what the Royals did. They put out the diagnosis really quick afterwards. So I mean, it was keeping everyone in the loop and involved, but just to see that he was able to kind of shake it off, be okay, I think that really calmed a lot of people around the Royals.
Let's talk about the other young superstar, Jack Caglione. I think is continuing to strengthen this narrative that he should be with the major league team sooner rather than later, whether or not that means opening day or a little bit further down, as the season progresses. I mean, the home runs are impressive to watch. 3 home runs. He's hitting 500 in spring training right now. And those home runs, like I mentioned, I mean, he's basically hitting the cover off the ball. What are you hearing about his development? And I feel like I ask you this every single week. Is there any chance at all that we see him starting the season with the Royals?
I don't think you'll see him starting the season with the Royals, like opening day or anything like that, because he still has to learn a position. Like he's not going to be at first base because that's where Vinny Pasquantino is, and they have Salvador Perez to back up Pasquantino on those days that he needs off. So he's going to have to probably learn the outfield, and if he can do that in minor leagues really quickly, then there could be a chance that he is up sometime this season. However long how the Royals want to use him or whatever. But JJ Picollo said on the broadcast last week that they don't want to rush him. They know that he has the ability and he's going to be an impact player for them, but they don't have to rush him. But he's making it very known just by his play on the field, at least, that he's on his way. And I think the biggest thing you mentioned, the home runs and the OPS and the slugging and the average, but it's the strikeouts for me. I mean, he really hasn't struck out that much. So he's adjusting well, and he's facing some really solid pitching, MLB level pitching in spring training. So if he can carry that over in, let's say, Double-A, if that's where he starts, and hits the cover off the ball again down there, then I don't see any real reason why you would want to hold him back, especially if you need a spark in the middle of the season.
Well, because service time still matters, right? Unless I know there was discussion about that, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like, service time is still a thing, and what does he have to miss? If he has to be called up 15 regular season day. Basically, if you wait a month, and the Royals have an easy excuse for that too, by the way. Like what you just said. Hey, we got to have him learn. We got to have him hit Double-A pitching. We got to have him learn a position. Oh, and then the quiet part that you don't want to say out loud. If we wait a month, he doesn't hit spring training. I mean, he doesn't hit free agency as quickly. So
yeah,
that's the other fact. That's why, to me, like, I don't care what he does. It doesn't make any sense for the Royals. They don't have the kind of pressure to put him out there right away that they did with Bobby Witt Jr. when he opened. Because Bobby Witt Jr. there wasn't really anything left for him to do in the minor leagues. We haven't seen Caglione do anything in the minor leagues yet. So it's an easy excuse to wait and save your service time and wait and save your free agency, which for small market teams totally matters. It matters a great deal.
It definitely does. And like you said, the Royals don't necessarily need Jack Caglione this season. Like, they won 86 games last year. They made the playoffs. Their team, they brought back almost all of their position players. They have enough talent where they can allow him to go to Double-A and really just play his first full professional season in the minor leagues. So you want to see him go through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of what every young player is going to go through. Right now, it's great to see him hit the home runs and have the hot start and see what he did in the fall league and everything like that. But when you get to Double-A, that's where the next level of MLB players are going to be at before they make the jump to the majors. I mean, it used to be AAA. Now it's really Double-A where you see that MLB talent really developing itself. So if he can hit that, then you're looking at, okay, maybe if we need him, we will hit that glass and press the button. But for right now, just let the kid continue to play, continue to develop, and enjoy what's coming.
We're getting to that point in spring training, Jaylon, where the Royals are going to start to, make decisions on who they are planning on having break camp and end up with the big league roster for opening day. And there are some guys that are fringy that are right on, kind of the edge on whether or not they'll make the team. I'm thinking of guys like Nick Prado and Kevin Biggio and even Nelson Velasquez, I think is kind of fringy. What are you hearing as far as some of those guys, maybe others that either will or potentially won't make the big league squad?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to the very last moments for that bench spots that they have available. When you look at Nick Prado and Nelson Velasquez, they're both out of options. So it's either they make the team or they're designated for assignment, have to go through waivers, and then would they see where they are at. So, I mean, if you're willing to allow either one of them to hit waivers and potentially be open up to other teams to claim them, then you have to weigh that decision. So I think if I was projecting the roster right now, I think one of those guys might be looking to earn a spot. And then on top of that, you have to see, do you go with Nick Lofton, Kevin Biggio, Harold Castro for that kind of utility role spot that they like to have? And then on top of that, what are you going to do with the bullpen? Daniel Lynch has looked really good this year and in spring, and could he be someone that you might want to keep around to be in the bullpen instead of going to AAA as a starter, to keep him stretched out? Because they have to balance that need for starters depth with Alec Marsh still working his way back, Kyle Wright still working his way back. So you have to decide, what do you want to do with that bullpen spot? Is it better to have Lynch be up in the majors in the bullpen and stretched out, or in AAA getting regular starters just in case? Because I think Chris Bubich is probably going to be the front runner for that fifth starter spot.
That's an interesting point on Lynch. I have one more for you real quick, Jaylon. Cole Reagan's looked good. He's looked really good. Is there a chance he's even better than he was last year? Do you think we've seen his ceiling yet, or is like Cy Young his ceiling?
I don't think we've seen his ceiling yet, to be honest with you. I think that for Cole Reagan's, a lot of it is he is getting into his form. Like I think the young kids today say he's getting into his bag a little bit. And I think when you watch him every time he goes out there, he's always looking to get better. I tell this story all the time. If you come to Kauffman Stadium hours before the game and it's a Cole Reagan's day, he will sit in the dugout and he will visualize just by himself just what he's going to do on the mound, how he's going to attack hitters that day, and just getting a feel of the environment right before it goes out to start. And he just wants to win, and you can tell just about how he goes about his game. So I think it's another level. There's more to tank with him, and he could be someone that could be in that Cy Young race this year.
I love it. He's looking good this spring. All right, Jaylon. Follow Jaylon at Jaylon Thompson on X. You can find all his work, of course, at the KC Star, our Royals Insider, their Royals beat reporter. Jaylon, we'll see you back here in Kansas or Missouri here pretty quick.
Yeah, can't wait.
There goes Jaylon Thompson. We appreciate his time, effort, and energy out at spring training. Great news with Bobby Witt Jr. Whew. That sucked.
That's a big bullet dodged.
Man, that was brutal the other day. Yeah. Just like, oh no, don't do this to us, baseball. All right, real quick, if you want to win some HTO, an opportunity to do that before we get off the air, just text the keyword TEA to the short code 20357. You can enter once per day, message and data rates apply. And then, of course, our 3570 Golf Co. Entry is there. That same number, 20357, that keyword is golf. So 2 chances to win prizes today. Good luck there. And we want to give a quick shout out to Crestview Country Club for being great supporters of the program. That's going to be a great place to watch college basketball during the day. Maybe you just pop over for lunch next week. If you can't get down to Intrust Bank Arena, you're just looking for a quick spot, pop over there. Got a great restaurant. They'll have all the games on. They got TVs right there in the bar and plenty of cold beer.
By the way, did you get out in golf yesterday?
I did.
How'd it go?
I've only been able to play 9 holes 2 times this year. And both times I was 10 over through 9. So but what does that put me at? 92?
Yeah.
I said my goal this year is to consistently be into the mid to low 80s. So what I'm still shooting for. I can tell you that that's progress from last year when I would have been in the 110s. So yeah, it was great. And you want to talk about perfect weather? And I knew, look, I told you it's allergy season for me, and I knew I was going to pay the price for that. Like I was going to get out there and scoot through an hour and a half of golf, and it would just smash me the rest of the day. And it did, but it was totally worth it because it was beautiful. We were thinking about playing today, and then we realized we would be playing in a hurricane. So that was something that we decided against. But either way, thanks to Crestview for being great supporters of the show. And again, we've got some cool opportunities with them coming soon that'll allow you to get out there and check out some of what we're talking about. So, all right, we're going to come back with Sports Daily. It's a busy day of programming here with us. We'll get you all caught up for today and into the weekend next.